The views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal, and do not reflect the views of any organization. Hello and welcome once again to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Now, I've said this before on the Straight Bat, but I want to reiterate it this week again. It isn't easy being an Indian Muslim in today's India. You're constantly suspected, vilified, and almost put on trial every time anything happens in India and indeed across the world. The latest example being what's happening in Afghanistan. Being an Indian Muslim who is famous is also not easy either, because fame offers you no protection. We've seen it as Javed Akhtar this week, and indeed others before. Aamir Khan, Shahrukh Khan, Sania Mirza, Naseerudin Shah have faced that when they comment, suddenly their religious identity almost becomes a barrier, and their fame in a way makes them even more vulnerable to being targeted for any statement they may make. Take the latest case of Javed Akhtar, which is the focus of this week's Straight Bat video blog. The famous lyricist writer, the one half of the Salim Javed pair who made that epic film Sholay, Diwar and so much more, made a comment this week in a television interview where he condemned the Taliban, but also warned at the same time that those who want a Hindu Rashtra in India also have a Talibani mindset. Now, that was enough to get the Hindu saffron outfits and a few BJP leaders outraged and demand an apology from Akhtar, and threatened that they would ban all his films, would not allow the screening of any film associated with Javed Akhtar, because they claimed he was linking the Sangh Parivar to the Taliban. Now, let's be clear. It's my view that a group like the Taliban, a militia, terrorist, Islamist radical group, must be seen in the context of the politics of Afghanistan. It is a bestial group. There is no old and new Taliban, no Taliban 1.0 and 2.0. In my view, the Taliban is a group which is completely against any form of modern civilized human rights. Now, we can look at the rise of Hindutva politics as well and the rise of right-wing politics, but it must be looked, according to me, in the context of the politics of this country, rather than make it Taliban in Afghanistan versus Hindutva politics in India. Look at all these movements in the context where they exist. To that extent, I would disagree with the Javed Akhtar if he tried to make any comparison. But, and this is the important but, I will defend his right to speak up. Because in my view, there is nothing in his statement that incites violence or promotes hate. And I think that is the touchstone, according to me, when it comes to notions of free speech. Please show me one word in the Javed Akhtar statement that promotes hate or violence, and whether there is any illegality in what he said. You and I have every right to disagree with aspects of what Mr. Akhtar may have said, but what is the basis for threatening him or threatening that you will stop his films from being screened? In fact, in a way, by making such open threats, Javed Akhtar is actually being proved right by his critics. And just who are these self-styled thekedars of Hindu religion who today are threatening Akhtar? Ram Kadam, a BJP MLA who was once with the MNS, who has repeatedly courted controversy, whose entire career is littered with instances where Kadam has threatened or incited violence. He is now going to become a defender of the Sangh Parivar on this story. Nitesh Rane, another Maharashtra MLA, wants Akhtar to apologize. Now, who is Mr. Rane? Another MLA and son of Union Minister Narayan Rane. He too has a reputation for violent acts, including assaulting government officials, for which he was arrested. Do Kadam or Rane have any moral right today to dive into this debate and take on Akhtar and make threats? The point therefore I make is simple this week. The Constitution guarantees free speech. The exception or the reasonable restrictions, in my view, come when a statement is made that promotes hatred or incites violence. Why should Akhtar's reference to a Talibani mindset trouble our local politicians so much? And why should he be pushed into a situation where now there is security outside his house? To my mind, you can debate Javed Akhtar, you can dissent with him, you can disagree with him, you can disprove him. But why threaten or intimidate him? It is this constant fear, my friends, of violent retribution that is most troubling. Worse, it is these self-styled vigilantes who today are targeting Akhtar, who tomorrow will target some interfaith marriage under the guise of love jihad, or the next day bash up cattle traders. It is they who are giving Hinduism a bad name. Let's be clear, my friends. We are not Islamists in this country. We are not the Taliban. But yes, there are those who betray a Talibani mindset when we display our intolerance. The Taliban may enforce its diktat in a completely unacceptable manner by the use of the gun. Here we are coming across groups like the Bajrang Dal from time to time who will bully others with their intimidatory tactics and display a majoritarian mindset. The Taliban are in power in Afghanistan. The Bajrang Dal derive their legitimacy from their proximity to power. India, my friends, will never be Afghanistan. But India cannot disregard the forces of hate and violence who are rearing their head from time to time in this country. Javed Akhtar, to my mind, frankly, is a soft target for Hindu and Muslim extremists because he chooses to challenge both. He has spoken out in the past against those within the Muslim community who claim to issue fatwas on behalf of the community, as he speaks out today against those who seek to push a Hindu majoritarian worldview. I have seen him being threatened by the Muslim clergy, as today he is by right-wing Hindu politicians. Sadly, my friends, when a Javed Akhtar is threatened, I don't see too many of us standing up for him in civil society or indeed in the Hindi film industry, of which he has been such an intrinsic part for so many years. In a sense, perhaps this reflects the cowardice of people who simply don't want to speak truth to power. Just remember today, my friends, they are threatening Javed Akhtar. Tomorrow, it could be you. That was The Straight Bat. Do log on and subscribe to many more such YouTube videos on my channel. For now, stay well, stay safe. Ganpati Bappa Moria, Happy Ganesh Chaturthi. Jai Hind.